This is a Dreamcast disc and is for use only on a Dreamcast unit. Playing this disc on a hi-fi or other audio equipment can cause serious damage to its speakers.
Dreamcast, up to 6 billion players.
Welcome back to the stage of history.
Why don't we play together?
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go!
Please stop this disc now.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 149 of the Dreamcast Junkyard DreamPod. My name is Jazz, and I am joined this evening, I suppose it could be this morning where you're listening, but either way, I'm joined this evening by Tom and Lewis. Gents, how are we?
I'll go first. I'm very well, thank you. I am nursing a cold. I'm on the tail end of a horrendous bout of flu, so if I sound like I'm holding my nose, that's why. So I just want to apologise.
A bit nasally, yeah. I mean, said it though.
It sounds horrendous. I hate listening to my own voice, especially on like podcasts and stuff. And it's going to be even more unbearable this time. So I apologise both to you. Well, actually, I apologise more to Lewis, not you, Jazz. You can do one.
Thanks.
I apologise to the listeners and Lewis. But yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on your podcast, Tom, that you
It's
created.
not my podcast.
It's wonderful to have you. And Lewis, good to see you as well, my friends.
Hello, yes, I'm good. Although, just at the top of the episode, I want to extend an apology on behalf of our team to one Mr. Dreamcast for our disparaging words about his excellent magazine on our last episode. So hopefully with this apology, we can bury the hatchet.
Has he been in touch?
He wasn't too happy, mate, at the end of the podcast. From what I heard, he was a bit disgruntled, should we say, with our comments.
Our apology is out there. Please don't show up at my house again. Thanks.
Anyway, yes, we've, as always, got a great show to go through today with you guys. We were talking amongst ourselves about how there's been so much news happening, and in the week or so it's taken us to plan this episode, that we seem to keep adding stuff to the list. So we've got a ton of stuff to rattle through this evening, just to keep you all updated with what's been happening in the world of Dreamcast. But before we do that, we always like to have a nice ease in to get our voices warmed up and talk about what we've been playing recently, or what we've been picking up recently, both modern day stuff and retro stuff as well. So Lewis, I'll come to you first. What have you been playing?
Probably similar to you, Jazz, actually. Resident Evil Requiem.
Yes,
like the big game, and it's I don't know, there should be like a syndrome named after whenever you finish a new Resident Evil game and just everything else seems crap, because I'm just like trying to figure out what to play, because I really love that game. I know you've played it, Jazz, and you'll probably agree, like I really loved the distinction between the horror and the action gameplay with the two characters, which is great. But kind of trying to keep on a horror kick, I did get the well, it used to be called Project Zero back in my day, but now it seems like they've changed the name to the American name now, which is Fatal Frame. So I'm playing the remake of 2, which has come out recently on the PS5. And for those who don't know that series, it's the one where you take pictures of ghosts to exorcise them. And yeah, it's always been a bit of a weird series for me, because it's like a survival horror, but like the actual gameplay where you're trying to just take out the ghost with the camera almost feels slightly arcadey in a way. It's interesting, but yeah, really good looking game, and I've been playing it on HDR, which is a new setting on 4K TVs for those of us who are in the future.
You sound like when we had HD ready TVs, the way you're talking about HDR, mate. We've been using HDR for years.
Oh, well, I only just mess around with some of the settings on this game because it looks really good. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's not too dark so you can't see it. It's like, it looks really good. But then like when the illumination from the torch moves over stuff, it just looks great in that setting. So yeah, really eerie and very good looking game. And then retro stuff. I Well, it's kind of a new pickup, but an old pickup. It's a weird story. So, I finally got a working copy of Looney Tunes Space Race. As
Nice.
I've heard you guys and Mark Maz Gaming. I think it's his favorite Dreamcast game. So I've always wanted to get a copy. So. Well, I think it was like about a year ago, I bought a load of PAL fighting games from Mike Rogers, who's been on the podcast before, and he basically said to me, I've got this copy of Looney Tunes Space Race, and all the case and the inlays and everything they're like pristine, but the disc won't boot on my Dreamcast. I'll chuck it in, see if you have any more luck with it. So I get it, and it doesn't work on my console either. Basically, you put it in, and it actually goes to the bit where it actually says Sega, the license, and it just goes to the BIOS. It goes to the the play save screen, and the disc was spotless. So what he said is like, well, just look for a loose disc on eBay if one ever comes up. So I found one finally. I think it was about a tenner. And it is completely covered in surface scratches, but it boots and it plays.
Brilliant.
Good old Dreamcast, make it make sense. So yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason as to what games will work or what consoles will work, and
yeah,
it's just pot luck, I think.
Yeah, so it was a good saving on my part because obviously I paid like a tenner for what is like a 30 quid game. So yeah, cheers for Mike for sending me all the box and everything for that.
Nice. Thomas.
Yes, I haven't played Resident Evil Requiem. I've watched many videos on YouTube about the different graphics settings and how cool it is and all the reviews, etc. But I'm too tight to buy a game at 60 quid when it's brand new, so I'm going to wait for it to go down in price and then I'll get it.
For all our listeners, Tom's logic is, right, he would rather spend £60 on eSlop from the Nintendo eShop of these like horrendous games. He'd rather buy like 20 of those than pay 60 quid for a good game. It's true, Tom. It's true. I've seen you play. I've seen you play History.
Well, I've seen yours as well, but we won't go there. On the horror theme, I have been playing a game which is called Chronos: The New Dawn.
Oh yeah.
Which is like an over-the-shoulder kind of third-person sci-fi horror shooter. It's actually brilliant. And I've been getting really stuck into that. The only downside is I've been playing it on the Switch too. I wish I'd gone on a different system because it runs at higher frame rates and better visual fidelity. But it looks all right on the Switch too. And yeah, I've been getting really deep into that. So I've been enjoying Chronos: The New Dawn. When it comes to retro stuff, I have been on a bit of a kick. Renovating my Dreamcast estate, shall we call it? By which
the little
I mean,
bags are gone.
I went into the attic, I retrieved my little bag, and I got all my Dreamcasts out, and I just basically did a bit of a stock take, tested them all, see which ones worked, which ones didn't, which ones had dodgy VM controller boards, GD drives, took things out of other ones, found spare bits, and just basically created a whole fleet of Dreamcasts that now actually work, as opposed to having other ones in bits and pieces, in bags and boxes and whatnot.
I love that, a fleet.
Yeah, so I've now got my fleet in good working order, and off the back of that, I did a bit of messing about with the GDMU, and so I was playing some of the new games that have been ported over to the Dreamcast recently, which we'll talk about in a little while in more depth, but things like Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox or Lilac Wars, Wipeout. So I've been having a bit of a play around with those things. So yeah, it's been quite an eclectic mix of things on the slate of recent times. So yeah, that's me. What about you, Jazz?
Thank you for that, Eddie Stobart, with your fleet of Dreamcast.
I need to put names. I need to put names on all the side of all the Dreamcast. Don't I?
Yeah. Bring Terry down, will you, love? I want to put the GDEMU tonight. Me, I mean, Resident Evil Requiem, as we've all discussed, it's a phenomenal game. It really is. We were talking the other day about Capcom seem to be the only publisher at the moment who can get like AAA games out on a cycle of 3 or 4 of them every 5 years, whereas other companies seem to be taking 5 years to get a AAA game out. And the quality of Requiem is just outstanding. I've not quite finished it yet because I've been sidetracked since Marathon came out. I think I've put 100 hours into Marathon so far. It's just the the gameplay loop on that is just so good. So I'm kind of I'm really addicted to that. And the other thing, modern gaming wise, was the new Tokyo Extreme Racer came out. It's been out for a while, obviously on PC, but it came out on PlayStation, so I picked it up. And yeah, I mean, anyone that enjoys those Tokyo Extreme Racer games knows what a grind that gameplay is. So it's I've put quite a significant amount of hours into that already, and did a nice little video on YouTube around comparing it to the Dreamcast one, because obviously the motorway, or part of the motorway in the new one, is exactly the same as what it was in the Dreamcast version. So it was quite nice to sort of jump in on the PS5 and feel immediately at home. Felt like a bit of a tour guide on the C1 loop, which was quite nice. For retro stuff, very similar to you actually, Tom, I've been doing a bit of under the hood mods on my sort of daily Dreamcast, my daily runner. So I reshelled my GDEMU console because you can pick up good reshells now for like 30 quid. So I put a nice black shell on it. I put a Robot Retro PSU on it, which was great. And it's just using the new open. What is it called? Open OS, or am I making
Open Menu?
Open Menu, thank you. That Derek and his team created. It makes my life a million times easier to update my SD card now, because of the Mac compatibility, which you didn't get on other versions I've used in the past. So it's just made life a million times easier, as I said. The other thing that I got into, I've been wanting to get back into the GameCube scene for quite a while, and there's a very long story that I won't bore you with, where I had a Resident Evil 4 Platinum GameCube bundle when they came out, and basically it's gone missing, and I don't know where it's gone. I've still got the controller, which is really weird, but I can't, and all the games, but I can't find the actual console. So I picked up a cheap GameCube, a black GameCube, for about 35 quid, I think I paid for it. Untested one, works fine. And I was doing a bit of reading about, because I didn't really know much about the mod scene for the GameCube, but there's a thing you can buy, I forget the name now, which is, it's basically works like a GDEMU for the GameCube, but it slots underneath in the serial port.
Oh, like the Game Boy player.
Yeah, well, it's the Game Boy player uses serial port 1, I think, and this one uses serial port 2. So if you do have a Game Boy player, you can use them both together, which is nice. But the best thing about it is, obviously, it gives you the best of both worlds. So you still have your disc drive, so you can use your disc games. But it means that you can, if you've got an Action Replay, then you use that to boot into Swiss, which is like an open source operating system for it, and then that will read games off the SD card in the serial port. So really, really cheap and easy to do as well. No soldering, nothing. And I think the total cost of it all with the Action Replay disc that I had to buy was about 30 quid. So I've just been rediscovering quite a bit of the GameCube library, which has been nice, playing things like Wave Race Blue Storm and things like that.
I need to get on that, Jazz. I mean, we've been discussing it, haven't we? I need to get one of those, because I do love the GameCube. I think I've said on previous podcasts that, while people say that the Xbox is the Dreamcast 2, to me, I feel like there's a lot of Dreamcast DNA in the GameCube. I love the console, but unfortunately, a lot of the games are like really expensive. Like some of the really like the more kind of interesting ones. I think I'd want to get one of these, and get it sorted. And like you say, it's so easy and it's so cheap. Like, why not?
Exactly. Yeah, it does, and it's obviously all soft modded, so there's no hardware things you need to change. The hardest part of the whole process for me was with the Action Replay. You've got like a memory card that you put into the second slot, and it's got like a micro SD slot in it, which you need to put the operating system on. And then when you boot into Action Replay, it obviously reads from that card first, and then it uses the SD card in the other serial port as the storage, basically. But the SD card that you can put in the memory card slot can't be any bigger than, I think it's 4 gig. But honestly, trying to get hold of a micro SD card that's like 4 gig is a lot harder than you'd think it is. So I managed to find a pack of 2 actually on Amazon in the end. So Lewis, when you do get it sorted, I've got
Oh,
a
nice,
tiny
cheers.
micro SD card here for you.
I was going to say you could do one of, when you buy SD cards off like Chinese websites and it's like
Yeah.
2 terabytes, but they've actually just formatted it to
Yeah,
appear.
yeah.
So maybe that'd be how you'd get a 4 megabyte
Yeah,
one.
maybe. I think obviously because we're dealing with early 2000s technology here, I think it struggles to read anything above. But yeah. So they look really nice on my desk now because I've got my black Dreamcast, my black GameCube, and that's my retro fix.
The only
all off
problem
SD cards.
with my GameCube is that front controller port thing is gone kind of Dreamcast yellow.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's easy to reverse or not, but yeah, it kind of looks.
You must be able to buy that plate fairly cheap, surely, or someone will, or get a reshell for it. I think there's the company that makes the Dreamcast shells that I bought. I think it's called like Retro Cool or something like that. I think they do GameCube ones as well. But I suppose you've got your Game Boy player as well, haven't you, to think about with reshelling. Anyway, we've rambled for way too long about what we've been up to, so let's get into the Dreamcast news, which I'm sure is what everyone's tuned in to listen to. First bits of news we've got are all hardware related, actually, specifically around the controllers. The first one we're going to talk about is the Dreamcast Dreamcolor Plus, which Lewis put an article up on the Junkyard, so I'll ask him to kind of give us the rundown on this in a second. But basically, it's a dual stick analog controller for the Dreamcast, which uses an original Dreamcast controller shell. They've just added a second stick to it, but it also has the color VMU screen sort of as part of the package. It looks interesting. It's not for me, but it looks interesting. Lewis, do you want to just kind of pick up and run through the story you wrote on the blog?
Yeah, sure. So we did talk about this on a previous news podcast, but then the big sort of extra news that they've come out with in the last month or so is that they're adding a second stick for dual analog control. So what it is you take your controller apart, you take the PCB, like the chip looking thing inside, in layman's terms, and you put this one in. So you're basically taking out the stock parts inside and putting in this new board. And so that gives you the screen, which has like 3 different settings. So one of them's just the standard mono for the VMU icons. There's a color one which I believe functions a bit like the Super Nintendo Game Boy player, where it kind of gives it a palette, like a red palette or whatever. And then they have worked on full color VMU graphics, which it won't be for every game. It has to kind of be done on a by game basis, but there was like quite cool ones they showed off where you're in Resident Evil and it has the heart monitor and it's green for when you've got, full health, and then red when it goes lower, which is cool. Also includes a built-in microphone, built-in rumble, built-in memory. But yeah, the big news is the dual sticks, which is an option on the campaign that they're running, a backer campaign that they currently got live. So you can get it without the dual stick option, or you can get it with the dual stick option. And then there's a 3D printed faceplate that allows the second stick to be on the controller. Yeah, so the thing with the dual sticks is when we put out this news, we had so many comments of people like, the Dreamcast can't support 2 sticks because it's only had one analog stick. Like, why would you do this? It's so pointless. So what I say to them is, actually. So apparently the Dreamcast's Maple protocol actually supported 2 analog sticks. It's just that there was never a standard controller that had 2 analog sticks. What's mad is games like Quake 3 Arena and Unreal Tournament have that programming in them. So I don't know if they put it in there with the anticipation that maybe one day a 2-stick controller might release. Obviously, you've got games for the twin stick that this would support as well.
I wonder if it's anything to do with the mouse control configuration on why that they'll work or something like that.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Keyboard and mouse would obviously it's kind of a similar sort of setup, isn't it?
Yeah, that would make sense. So, but yeah, they've been showing some cool videos. They've even got it with GTA 3 running with the dual sticks, and to me it looks pretty smooth. I think it's I feel like with this, like for me, if I was to get it, it would be because like the color display is cool, but then the dual stick thing is cool, but I feel like it'd be a little bit more niche, like it's there if you need it, but I don't know how many games I myself would play that would need the dual sticks. But yeah, we do have some prices.
Yeah, and that is where I think it's. I mean, I hate to shit on new technology. I completely appreciate all the effort that goes into this sort of stuff, but if it wasn't niche before, I think the pricing is definitely going to make it niche for only a select few people. I'm just thinking about how many e-slop games Tom could buy with for the cost of one of these.
Jazz, stop projecting onto me. You're the e-slop king. All right.
So I guess the costing then is the Big Daddy edition, which is basically everything. So it's the dual stick PCB and the 3D printed front plate as well, is $171 US. There are cheaper editions to get without the 3D printed front plate, and you can also get one with just a single analog stick. So obviously all you're getting is the color screen on the controller. So they start $114 US, and it's another $10 for the extra stick, basically.
The only kind of concern I have, and I did speak to them, and I think this is the beauty with this group of people, like they seem so passionate about this project. They're constantly coming out with new things and showing off new features that even they've worked on since the campaign went live. So one of the things I noticed when they were showing this off was that in where the VMUs would originally sit in the controller, it was just kind of open, and they had the I don't know what you'd call it, like the rotor thing for the vibration just loose in there. You could like stick your finger in it if you wanted to like cut your finger off, probably, but it was just left open. And I said, oh wait, like have you not got like a thing that covers that up? Because obviously you've just got all this stuff like exposed, and they did say that they were looking into it, but it is something that I think like you really need like to be able to cover up all these bits, especially if you're spending all this money on it, and then like if you drop the controller, it's potentially exposed to getting damaged or something.
It just feels a bit like it's still in prototype phase. When in that photo you showed me with the top all exposed, it just looks like it does literally look like it's still being kind of worked on with a load of parts from Tandy or something. I think that definitely needs a 3D printed cover or something like that.
You do realise which other piece of classic gaming hardware had a fully exposed kind of PCB hanging out the back of it, don't you? Anyone?
The Jaguar.
No? The Jaguar, yes, that's my Jaguar reference in. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on this thing. I think it looks really cool. Like you said, Jazz, I'm not going to like dump on something like this, which is way far and away more than I could ever achieve with a soldering iron and a bit of PCB. But one question remains for me, and that is, why not just offer this thing as a completed controller, like a unit? Because if you are taking apart your existing Dreamcast controller, all you're really using is the backplate and the trigger buttons. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're going to be using a new PCB and the front plate as well,
it uses all the buttons. You'd use
and your buttons as well, I suppose. Yeah. But I mean, wouldn't it just be more cost effective just to offer it as a complete unit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know.
Kind
I
of
don't
like
know.
how Chris Dioglu does with his, I think
Yeah, with the Dreamcon, yeah.
you like send yours off to him, don't you? And he mods
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
If the Dreamcast Dreamcolor Plus is not the controller mod for you, then good news, we have another one to talk about, which comes from our friends at 8-Bit Mods, who have got a bit of a track record now with making some pretty cool modern devices, if you like, for retro consoles. And they recently announced the BitLink DC kit, which effectively just turns your standard OEM Dreamcast controller into a wireless one, with what I understand to be a very small modification to the innards of the controller. I don't know if soldering is required. I should know that. No soldering. So, and it just kind of clips in the back where the VMU or the rumble pack would normally sit. And like I said, effectively turns your Dreamcast original controller into a wireless one. It's a very neat solution, and I think just my personal thoughts on this, I've said it many times on the pod before, that when I play retro games, I like to have real hardware, and part of the experience is that kind of holding the original controller and everything else. So I've never really been interested in modern takes on wireless controllers, or using an adapter to use a DualShock controller or something like that. Whereas this actually appeals to me a lot more, because you still get that kind of that sensation of holding a Dreamcast controller, like it or hate it, whilst you're playing your games. I believe the dongle also actually does work as a fully wireless dongle anyway, right? So you can use other controllers with it.
Yeah. I think you can buy them separate, so you can just get a little thing that goes in the console. Or you can get this thing that I think it looks quite... I like the look of it, actually. It looks like the jump pack or the vibration pack that you actually can get for the controller. So I think it looks quite uniform as well.
It does. It looks very contemporary. It definitely won't look out of place or strange sitting in your Dreamcast controller. And I am tempted by this. It's priced fairly reasonably. You can buy the dongle on its own for about 27 quid, and you can buy the adapter and the dongle together for about 70 quid, which again is quite expensive, but as we said before, these things are pretty low numbers. They are pretty niche, so there's going to be some overhead from that perspective. But yeah, I mean, my daily Dreamcast is set up in my office, so I'm never sat further than kind of a foot away from it, so I don't have the need for it. But if I ever take it downstairs to use it in the lounge TV, then having a wireless original controller is definitely very appealing to me. What about you boys?
I just echoing what you said, really. I think it looks really cool. It looks very well made. My only reservation is we haven't actually seen how this thing connects with the wire to the PCB inside the Dreamcast shell, the controller shell. There's no images of that yet, so I'm wondering how that works. Also, just thinking about compatibility with third-party controllers, I would guess that it would work. So if anybody wants to resurrect their massive Mad Catz dinner plate controller and make it wireless for the 21st century, then that's all your dreams have come true. But
now there's an article in it. What's the worst controller we can make into a wireless one?
What was that one? That McLaren one. I'm sure I did an article on it ages ago.
I remember
there was
that.
a McLaren one that supposedly had dual rumble controllers and dual rumble inside it, but it was just garbage. But yeah, no, it looks cool. Yeah, I'm always up for new things that bring the Dreamcast into the modern era. So yeah, what about you, Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, I know the price is what was it, 70? I think it was. You said
70 quid. Yeah,
I think the price is like possibly not too bad if you kind of position it as, this is a way to make your controller wireless without having to fork out for the like a more expensive thing, like perhaps what Chris offers, which is fantastic. But I suppose if you were on like a lower budget, and then obviously you do have like cheaper things like the retro fighters, but then it's whether you want, like you Jazz, you said you want to keep your original controller, so that would obviously be a benefit of this. There is a thing that it does, apparently it will charge the VMU Pro when it's inserted in the other slot, which I find really interesting, and I don't actually know how it would do that, but maybe it's like a thing where it's like when it's near it, it does like the, like what's it called? Like what your phone does, the wireless charging.
Induction charging.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know how it works, but that is quite interesting. I like the fact that they have another Dreamcast product that they have worked in some kind of compatibility with. I think that's quite clever of them to do. But yeah, I might get this, but it'd probably be more like I'd see how it is, from reviews and stuff, and then give it a try.
I wonder how it would work with like other peripherals that maybe aren't designed for it, like the gun. Whether it'd have any compatibility with that, or the twin stick. Just for shits and gigs, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's worth. I mean, the one thing I think is worth pointing out as well is that 8-bit mods have got a pretty good reputation for building really good quality mods and hardware for retro consoles. You guys have already mentioned it. The VMU Pro, which has been out. Well, I say been out a while. It's been out of stock for a while because they're already on a backlog of pre-ordering for the next batch coming in the summer. But obviously, that's the full color VMU, modern VMU with rechargeable battery, and you can play emulation games on it and things like that. So, I've no doubt the build quality will be good on it. And yeah, we'll see what it's like. And Tom, you can try it with your Mad Catz controller and everything else when we get to that point.
Give the people what they want, yeah.
All right, that's it for hardware then. So we'll talk about this again. There's been so much in the way of news around around porting games to the Dreamcast since we last did a news pod. Tom mentioned or touched on a few of these earlier on. I'm just going to rattle through some of the games that have been ported or are in the process of being ported, and then we'll come back to talk about some of these in a bit more detail. So obviously there's been a lot of N64 ports recently. We already had the Mario Kart 64 that had happened, and Star Fox 64. They'd been released, I think it was last year, wasn't it? It wasn't the year before, last year.
Yeah, it was last year, yeah.
Yeah, and then we've since that we've also now seen Mario 64 itself, and that's been improved as well in the most recent release, and the early stages of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which I'm sure will please a lot of people because it is one of the greatest games ever. Don't at me. And I'm not even a
I don't think anyone's
going
to at you.
No.
Everyone agrees.
Like I said, we'll come back to these in a second, but just to keep talking through these. So Sonic Mania, which released probably about 4 or 5 years ago, if I had to guess now, has been being worked on as a Dreamcast port, and it seems like we're quite close to a final release now. And that is a team led by someone who goes by the name of Sonic Freak 94. I'm guessing he likes Sonic. Interestingly, one thing I found quite interesting anyway was the Virtua Fighter 4. I call it a port loosely because this is definitely more of a tech demo at the moment. It doesn't feature any gameplay. It just kind of shows that the game's rendering, that the game engine is rendering. I think there's 2 fighters. The camera just kind of pans around and everything else. And whether or not it'll actually get ported from a gameplay perspective, I don't know. But I think it was pretty cool to see this on Dreamcast hardware, especially for those of us that lived the death of the Dreamcast. And there were many rumours flying around in the magazines around Virtua Fighter 4, which had already been confirmed for PS2. Would it get a Dreamcast port or not? And ultimately, we all know the answer. And the final couple, or 2 or 3 here then. So we've got Final Fantasy 12. Also in those kind of tech demo stages. Very, very interestingly, Simpsons Hit and Run, which is the good Simpsons driving game, not the bad one. Currently, it's only been shown running in an emulator, and it's literally just one screenshot with not full textures or anything like that. But again, really exciting to see this sort of thing, be attempted to be ported to Dreamcast.
I loved that game when it came out.
Everyone did, yeah. I really like, to be fair, I really like Road Rage as well. A lot of people didn't, but if you overlook the flaws and stuff, it was just cool to drive around Springfield, let's be honest. Alone in the Dark, the original trilogy, being ported over, and I believe there is a preview available of that at the moment as well. And yeah, what do you boys? Any of those ports that are exciting you guys? Tom, you were saying you were playing some of the N64 stuff recently.
Yeah. So I make no secret of the fact that I'm a massive fan of the N64. It was the console I had immediately before I got my first Dreamcast. So I've got a soft spot for the N64. And at the moment, I've got under the desk where I'm sat, I've got an original N64 with the Summer Kart 64 flash cart in it. So I've got all these games on that. Including the recent release of a game called Junk Runner 64, the one which has got the map which is about the size of Skyrim or something. This amazing sort of new tech demo for the N64, which is just mind blowing. Anyway, for me, having these games come to the Dreamcast with improved resolution, improved frame rate, cleaner visuals, and in some cases some additional features is really cool. So it really piques my interest when I see this stuff pop up online. Obviously, we had Doom 64, which I waxed lyrical about on a previous episode. But all of these games run superbly on the Dreamcast, and it's just fantastic to see them. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, it hasn't widely been released at the time of recording this, as far as I know. I've only seen it running on a video which was done by the Sega guru Alex, who's a friend of the Junkyard. And it's in a very early stage where you can only select different environments from a menu as it stands currently, and there are a few glitches in like the sort of map screens, etc., where you can choose your equipment and cycle through the different menu screens. There's a couple of like corrupted graphics on there, but I mean it looks like it's running well. The resolution looks like it's been improved from the N64 original. And I mean, the biggest surprise for me really is that it's not been sort of stamped on by Nintendo yet. But with that said, all of these other games didn't really get any trouble. So who knows? Either they don't know or they just don't care. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this one kind of pans out. So yeah, that's my take on the N64 stuff. I don't know what you think, Lewis. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, the Nintendo 64 stuff is cool. My cousin had one and I did enjoy playing it a bit, mainly... what was it? Diddy Kong Racing. That was the game we liked on that. But yeah, like I don't have the nostalgia for some of these games, and like I do admit that they are very cool. I think out of all these ones we've mentioned, I think something like Simpsons Hit and Run really intrigues me, because I feel like when it comes to the ports, as cool as it is to see these N64 ones running at like higher resolution, etc., I do really like that what if thing with stuff like Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So a game like Simpsons Hit and Run, which I can't remember when it came out, but it was definitely after the Dreamcast had bit the dust.
Oh yeah.
Like a game like that would be really cool to see running. So yeah.
Definitely. I mean, the N64 ones I like just out of pure convenience more than anything. I mean, I've got like things like Mario Kart and Star Fox on my GDEMU, which, as I said, is in my office. So it's just nice to be able to jump in and play a few games. Like Tom, I've got a Summer Kart 64 on my Analog 3D downstairs, but it's just nice to have the option. But I agree with you, Lewis. I think whilst it's lovely to have those games on the N64 running perfectly on Dreamcast, like Grand Theft Auto 3, it's more about the technical marvel of getting these games like Hit and Run. Can they be ported to Dreamcast? Can it run it well? Because I think, even when GTA 3 got ported originally to Dreamcast, it was I think, the first builds and everything, there were still question marks over, is Dreamcast isn't going to be able to handle it properly, and actually, what the team there did worked wonders with it. It just it just goes to show, doesn't it? If you've got the right development team on something, they can really push hardware to its absolute limit. So hopefully we'll see that with things like Hit and Run and Final Fantasy 12 and Virtua Fighter 4 maybe, and yeah, we'll see in 10 DreamPods time if we're still talking about them.
Just a quick one on the Simpsons thing. It's interesting because obviously a couple of months ago, maybe a couple of years ago now, was the reveal of the lost Simpsons game, Simpsons Bug Hunt.
Yeah, the pitch.
Yeah, so there was that. I mean, who knows where this could have gone if the Dreamcast had been, in an alternate universe where the Dreamcast actually was successful and went on for another number of years. There's no reason why we couldn't have seen games like Hit and Run. So just going back to what Lewis was saying there about, this alternative reality of what could have been, I do find it fascinating that these games are being ported. And then going on to the Virtua Fighter 4 thing, again, as you said earlier, Jazz, even though it is nothing really more than a tech demo, it's really sort of, it gives me like this kind of wistful kind of longing for this future that never existed, where these games did come to the console, and it's just really nice to see that.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter 4 on the front of Dreamcast magazine, and,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely wishful thinking on their part.
Just very quickly from me on the port side of things, in the last few months, there's been reports of games like Virtua Racing on the 332X had been decompiled. And also more recently, Animal Crossing on the GameCube had been decompiled. So if I'm putting my my wish list together, those are two games I'd really like to have available on Dreamcast.
Animal Crossing would be incredible.
You've played too many hours of the Switch
true.
version already, so you don't need another one. Right, moving on. We got to keep the pace going, guys. Indie releases then, or indie news in general. The first one, unfortunately, is not great news, which is that the studio known as Retro Summers has been disbanded. You may know these guys from things like Xenocider, which was an absolutely amazing indie game, to be fair. I actually did a stream of that, a live stream of that, where the devs joined me as well while we were talking on the Junkyard about it. And yes, they disbanded. They put a tweet out back in February, end of February, just sort of saying that they are no more. And it seems like they've been kind of in hibernation for quite a while. Prior to that official announcement as well. So obviously we're used to celebrating new indie devs and how vibrant the indie dev scene is on Dreamcast, but it's definitely sad news that Retro Summers are no more.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean we've had a professional relationship with them going back, over 10 years probably, because they were doing things in the indie scene, way before it became popular to release games as commercial kind of ventures, like little demos, and some of the team there were influential in some of the early homebrew stuff on the Dreamcast. Just want to extend our thanks to Carlos and his team for what they did actually bring us, which obviously, as you mentioned, is games like Xenocider. There were things that never came to light, like Amoeba, which was a kind of visual novel that we never saw. And then later on, the most recent thing would have been Soviet Bogs, which we saw a demo of, but again, we probably won't see completed now.
I got the impression, because they had that as a Indiegogo campaign. It got pretty far, but unfortunately not far enough to reaching its goal, and they had it set so that if they didn't reach full funding, they didn't get any of the money. And yeah, that unfortunately didn't make its target. And I get the impression, and I think they even might have said it in their statement, that knocked the wind out of their sails, perhaps. And yeah, so I'm a bit disappointed. Like I'm sad about this, because they're great devs, and I was really intrigued as to what this Dreamcast specific version of Soviet Borgs was going to be, because they did talk about it being a little bit more like higher res and maybe even like better graphics than the Mega Drive version that was the demo that was going around. And I mean, they're not going to stop developing. They said, well, it's just Retro Summers, the team that's disbanded. It's not them, quitting development forever, which is great to hear.
So sad news, but moving on to something definitely a lot more positive is a title called Dream Table Poker, which is a poker simulation, which has been in development for quite a while by a studio called Glowware Studio. I actually played this last year when they put a very early version up to sort of download and try out. I was quite intrigued by it. And the unique thing about this game is it actually uses the VMU screen, which was a very much touted feature of the Dreamcast back in the day, and not many games took advantage of it. But if you're playing local multiplayer poker with sat around the TV, you can actually look at your cards on your VMU screen rather than on the TV screen, which is a really, really cool little feature.
That is ingenious, to be fair. That is awesome. Yeah.
Yes. Very, very clever. The coolness doesn't stop there, though, because the Glowware studio actually tweeted out saying that they were working on some different tables and things. So, and did anyone have any suggestions? So I messaged them and said, hey, a Dreamcast Junkyard table would be really cool. thinking they'd be like, yeah, that would be cool, haha.
Do you know what's mad, Jazz? I actually found a message I hadn't seen on our Facebook page where they'd actually messaged us like a month before asking if we wanted to do a Dreamcast Junkyard table.
Really?
So when you offered it, they were obviously like, yes.
So yeah, they came back straight away and said yes, and I said, hey, why don't you lock it behind a cheat code, because that makes it super retro.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, I didn't, and I was like, cool, leave it to them. So Lewis got in touch through the Junkyard Twitter or X account and sent him all the assets. And then within 24 hours, we'd received a build with the Dreamcast Junkyard table included, and also the kind of the cheat code to access it, which I'm not going to reveal yet. It was just amazing to see it turned around so quickly, and the table looks utterly fantastic.
It is, yeah.
If you go onto the dreamcastjunkyard.co.uk, I wrote a quick article about it just to kind of showcase a little bit of the game and obviously the Junkyard table, and you'll see how awesome it looks. Super looking forward to this one now. The third cool thing about it, which hasn't been confirmed yet, but they are trying to include it, is online play. Which would obviously be a major coup as well for the very vibrant massively growing online Dreamcast gaming community. There's only been one post-death of the Dreamcast release that supports online play, which was Driving Strikers. Mm-hmm. So this would be the second one if they manage to pull this off, and yeah, it would be mega to be able to play a poker game online on Dreamcast as well, if they can get all that working. So yeah, we don't have any details yet, other than what I've played. I didn't want to do a full preview of the game just because it's still pretty early in development, so I wanted to kind of give them a bit more time to cook up some more goodness. But I'm definitely going to be covering this one as we start to get new builds from the team, so I'll be writing a full preview at some point in the future. But yeah, this is what I'm definitely excited about. Tom, you said you didn't even play poker and you're excited for this now.
I have no idea how the game of poker actually works. I've seen many films and I've seen other people play it, and I'm just watched with like mesmerised bewilderment, going, somebody's got something good, somebody's lost, somebody's grabbing all the chips off the table. I don't have a clue what's going on, but I might try and remedy that by playing this when it comes out. I mean, what's that other one called? There's one that's really popular, isn't there? Balatro? Is that it? Balatro?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that like a poker type game?
I mean, it uses the rules of poker, but it's basically a roguelike sort of. Okay. I mean, it's very loosely based on poker, but I mean, the standard sort of poker scoring is evident. But yes, right. It's.
I mean, the only reason I bring it up is because everyone's been raving about it, and then when I looked into it, it's about poker. I'm like, I don't have a clue what poker, how you play it, so I'm not going to get it. So, but for this game, like I say, Dream Table Poker, I may have to remedy that.
Yeah, as I said, we've got no details on whether this is going to be a physical release or a paid release, or we don't know anything about it yet, but we will keep you posted as news goes on. Lewis, do you want to take us through the Pixel Heart have had a number of announcements and various bits going on. Do you want to take us through what they've got up their sleeves?
Yeah, I think I talked about this game on a podcast when it was actually announced, but it was Verdict Guilty Clash, which is a side-on 2D fighting game. I don't know, it looks a bit middle of the road to me, and it's like, well, you're putting this game out on a system that has such big, amazing fighting games. If you're trying to do a fighting indie, it's like, well, you've got quite tough competition there. It might be good. I've not played it yet, so maybe I shouldn't judge. But then a game that appeals to me perhaps a little bit more is the sequel to Bang Bang Busters, which is like a single screen game, a bit like Snow Bros or something like that. If I recall, it's like you get enemies and you like ping them around the screen to take out other enemies. It is very fun, and this sequel went to Kickstarter and was successfully funded. And unlike the first one, which was basically just an emulated Neo Geo game, this is a proper native port to the Dreamcast, which seems to be a thing that Pixel Heart are really doing now. They got a lot of criticism for just basically throwing out physical releases of emulated Neo Geo games, and some were kind of slightly slightly shoddy occasionally on the
Androdunos.
Yeah.
Androdunos.
But now they're actually like doing proper native ports, which is really good. Possibly the most exciting thing, which just came out of nowhere, and I don't know if perhaps they got a little bit of inspiration from obviously Resident Evil being the big thing at the moment, but they have announced that they're bringing out a new 3D survival horror game that will have fixed camera angles and will be a tribute to the traditional survival horror games of yore. And yeah, that is in development currently exclusively for Dreamcast. And I did reach out to them about it, and I said, when will we hear some more stuff? And they reckon summer. So we'll keep an eye out for that, because that is one thing that I think even on the podcast we've discussed many times. Like, we need more horror games from the indie space. Like, that is something we definitely are looking out for.
Yeah, that is. I mean, anything survival horror, I'm all about. So yeah, super excited to see how that one shapes up. Roll on the summer.
Yes.
The final few things then on indie side of things. There's Donut Dodo is being ported over to the N64 and Dreamcast. If you've not seen this game before, it's really vibrant. It looks very similar to like a Donkey Kong style game. I don't know if I'm doing it a disservice there, but it looks gameplay-wise very similar to that. So that'll be quite nice to see that. I love the artwork on this game. It's very vibrant, very colourful. Screams kind of, do you know what I thought a lot of... talking of GameCube earlier on, what was that Sega game, Billy Hatcher or something?
Billy Hatcher and the giant egg.
Yeah, I don't know why the artwork for this really gives me those sorts of vibes. So, so yeah, maybe one to check out as well.
This one is an interesting one because I have it on the Evercade, one of the indie collections. And what's interesting about this game on there is that is a native game running on Evercade, so it's not emulated like all the other games they release. So that was interesting. So I guess that when they port this, it'll be another game running natively on the Dreamcast, which we all love.
The final bit of indie news then, which again we're not going to go into a huge amount of detail of at the moment, because I'm sure we'll cover these in the future, is the Dream Disc 25 entries have now been submitted, and there's obviously a process that goes now to decide which games get chosen to be printed on the disc. If you do want to check out which games got submitted, go and have a look at friend of the Junkyard, the Sega Guru on YouTube, because he's got gameplay footage of most of the games that received submissions. So go and check out his YouTube channel.
There is one game in this whole bunch. There are some really good games that I've played so far. They're fantastic. Very good variety as well, and a big variety that's a lot of them are quite different from what we got last year, which is always good to see. But possibly, and I don't want to disparage the developer at all, because they've worked hard on this. I've seen them working on it in the Discord. But just an interesting name that has popped up amongst this bunch is Elysian Shadows. There is an Elysian Shadows kind of prequel game, from what I understand. Not to kind of put too much out there and misspeak, but from what I understand, I believe Falco is trying to get a team together to work on Elysian Shadows and finish it, but that's all I'll say. I will leave it there.
I think it's probably prudent to leave it there, to be honest with you. But do you want to just very, very briefly, Lewis? What's the process now for Dream Disc? Because I believe Junkyard are involved in some capacity as well.
It's myself, the Sega Guru, Mike Rogers from the Junkyard as well, and Pizza Hotline. We're judges, and I believe Freak Dave as well, who is one of the people who submitted, is a judge, which I'm not sure how that'll work, but maybe we'll figure that one out. I believe maybe...
It's a fix!
It's a fix, yeah. I believe also Ross Kilgariff, yeah, he is a judge as well. So we need to play all these games, and I believe what we do is we put together a list of top 10, with obviously the first one being the top scorer, etc. And then it's whichever game gets the most points. And yeah, so I've played a few of them. I'm looking forward to playing them all properly. But yeah, it's a really cool bunch of games.
There's some great submissions. I've had a look through the list, and some of them look really interesting, and some of them look very visually impressive. So yeah, but I won't say any more. I'll leave that to you, Lewis.
I suppose one I can shout out actually is Scorch Nexus by Locked Door Puzzle. They submitted their entry and have gone on to finish the game since. So if you want to play a new Dreamcast game, you can go check that one out. Obviously, the version submitted for the contest is the one that will be judged. But obviously, I'm going to also play the full version.
Nice. Yeah, I played quite a few of the release or the submissions so far and was very impressed as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward. And it's always nice that these get bundled together as like a demo disc, which again always nicely plays on the nostalgia for people like us. So it's it's always good to see this competition come together. So yeah, we shall keep you updated on that as well. Right, moving on, our next topic is translations, and again we always seem to get a ton of new translations on the Dreamcast. I know Derek and the A-Team are super involved in this, not just them obviously, but Lewis, you yourself do a lot of these translations, but it's great obviously that we're getting we're making these games which were previously not available to us Westerners. We're making them accessible, which is the most important thing. The first one is, it's a shame really that we've got to talk about it the way that we do, but Sega Gaga, obviously the history of this game is very well documented. It's been very much an iconic piece of Dreamcast history for many reasons, but also because it gives you the opportunity to make all the right decisions for Sega's future that they unfortunately didn't do. It's obviously a very text-heavy game, and it's been, as I said, inaccessible really to anyone living outside of Japan or not speaking Japanese for many years, and it's been one of the most requested games to be translated. And Lewis, I'll hand over to you in a sec because I know you'll know the technical details more than me, but I know there were some limitations around why it was particularly difficult for Sega Gaga to be translated compared to some others. So yeah, obviously there's lots of different viewpoints on this translation. Some people really welcome the news, others didn't. And I think all I'll say on it is, as I said before, regardless of what your standpoint on the use of AI is, no matter how much or how little, I think it's great that this is now accessible to many more people.
Yeah, so basically this translation went out, and very quickly people picked up on the fact that there was a disclaimer in the README, which in my opinion, in hindsight, perhaps wasn't clear enough. So the project lead was trying to be transparent, and they explained that during the initial kind of hacking process, a mixture of AI translation and a machine translation, which from what I understand is they're both actually different things, but a combination was used. I wrote a really in-depth article on the blog about the kind of technical hurdles this game faced. Basically, to kind of make it short, the game used a type of Japanese text coding, and in order to get English displaying in a way that didn't look awful, they had to do all this work, and this is why, if anyone says, why is Sega Gaga not being translated? This technical hurdle is the reason it took 20 years. I think the first project that emerged all those years ago was 2007 or something. It's taken 2 decades to get a translation of this. And so what was originally happening, from what I understand, was that this was kind of a proof of concept to see if they could put the English text in. So what the project lead did was he used this combination of machine translation and AI to insert a script, And the reason they did that is like while they're kind of poking around in the game, seeing what works, they obviously need to kind of have a basic understanding of like, you know, what bit are they in now? Like, what is this character saying? Like, what does this option do? That was why they did it. The issue is that once translators actually came in, when they realised that this was a go and they could actually do this, they didn't scrub all that out. And what they actually had was the translators correcting or improving the translations originally not done by humans. And while you could argue that, well, a translator came in and sorted it, that's fine, a lot of people's argument was that because it was AI at all, there's like this idea that the text is like tainted because when you're kind of looking at it as a translator, it's like, well, perhaps they're being misdirected by whatever translation is there, and actually it might not be what it is, kind of thing. I you know, that they had a much better explanation than me, but yeah. So then people kind of comb through the text and kind of criticize things, and actually, I think once the anger died down and some people started playing it, I think they noted that quite a lot of the bits in the text that were a bit iffy are more down to like human error with editing rather than like what they call an AI hallucination. It's an interesting debate, and it's one that like no matter what we say here, people are either going to agree or disagree. I will say is that I've seen people say things like, oh, I'm not playing it, I guess I just have to learn Japanese. And it's like, well, while the text in the game isn't perfect, why would you not just boot this up and play it? Like, rather than sitting there in front of your TV with Google Translate on your phone, we now have a playable version of this game in English. I don't want this to sour what has been a lot of hard work from the hackers, but also there was a guy involved who knew all of the references and made sure all of like the specific game references and Japanese humor from, you know, the early 2000s was put in there, and people have gone through and said actually there was some attention put here.
That was the biggest frustration I had. I think, you know, this isn't something that people have paid for. This isn't even something that people knew was in the works. And if it's not for you, if you've got, you know, reasons that you don't want to support AI projects, I think the biggest frustration for me came as people referring to it as slop and everything else. There are going to be far more people, I think, that are happy to be able to play a version of this game now. So yeah, I think let's not dwell on it too much, but I think let's celebrate the work that was done to get it to this point, and I'm sure in the future we'll get even better translations now the groundwork has been done.
Yeah. They released all the tools as well, didn't they?
Which is great, yeah.
Yeah.
And as we said before, you know, it is fantastic to make a game like this accessible to so many more people. Lewis, whilst you're speaking, there's been a few other translations since we last podcasted. So do you want to just quickly walk us through those?
Yeah, I'll whittle through them quite quickly. DG Charat Fantasy. This is a translation that's come from Derek Pascarella and a team. This game has a PS2 version, and that was the translation of that was used as the basis for this one. So they took that script and put it into the Dreamcast version. So you can play this. It is a very kind of anime visual novel kind of game. So if that is your bag, then this is for you. You also have Macross M3, which is a slightly not great like mech combat game. But what I love about the Dreamcast is it has these games, you know, in Japan and stuff, like the Macross from the Macross series, and what happens is you get these passionate fans of that specific series who will see a game even if it's on a console they're not necessarily interested in translated. So in this case, the Macross fandom were like, we need to see the Dreamcast game translated, and here we are. So what I also love, which I just love, is such a nerdy detail, is they've added another patch which fixes the color of two of the mechs, because in the game they're the wrong color from what it is in the anime, which it's such a specific niche detail that I can appreciate. And then the other games there was actually 4 Hello Kitty games on the Dreamcast, but 3 of them were like these little mini game arcadey kind of things, and those 3 have been translated. They all released at the same time, which is cool.
Now Tom's getting excited.
Yes.
I will say they are pretty fun little games. They're very charming. Definitely load these up on your Hello Kitty Dreamcast if you have one. They're getting expensive.
Finally!
Yeah. And then the final one is Project Justice Rival Schools 2, which is a very beloved 3D side-on beat-em-up from Capcom. The Japanese version of that game had an exclusive mode, which is a board game where you create a little avatar and go around the board game. Mike Phelan told me about it years ago, and I was always intrigued by this mode, but obviously you can't do much with it in Japanese. So, this person has basically just translated that. So when you do boot up this patch, the rest of the game is in Japanese, because obviously you could just load up the English version, but this specific mode this person's translated. So yeah, you can give that a go if you find that intriguing. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I love that. That's how niche it is. It's just brilliant.
There is now officially no reason to play Sonic Shuffle.
Yeah,
ever again.
Was there ever anyway?
Yeah.
I remember playing that for the first time. Like, it was only about 10 years ago I played it, and I remember thinking, like, there's no way this can be as bad. It's a board game. How can it be as bad? Like,
was that on stream? I just remember you.
I think I did. Yeah, I think I did.
It might have been on like a Sunday morning or something, and you're just like, "What is this? It sucks."
Yeah. I was expecting it to be really accessible and like easy to play, and it was just like it wasn't. It was so confusing. They managed to massively overcomplicate the rules of a board game. It was just baffling.
That's a game that some passionate person in the scene could come in and tear it apart and make it better somehow.
Or we'll just get Mario Party ported over.
Oh yeah, true.
Which would be even better. So let's hope for that instead. Excellent. So lots of translations, lots of indie stuff. And for those of you who love to plug your modem in, there has also been lots of news on the online side of things since we last went live. The first of which is been extremely significant, not just for the existing online community, but for a lot of Dreamcast fans in general, which is that the Shenmue Passport disc is now fully restored. It had been online in part previously, but now it has been completely restored with all the leaderboards, all the accessibility that was previously available, and it's there to be used. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Shenmue fan, as you guys know, but I did check out the disc. It's annoying because you have to have a Shenmue save file on your VMU to be able to access the disc. But yeah, to be able to go online, like I said, you can check all the leaderboards out. It automatically uploads all your scores from like the arcade machines and all the other mini games as well in the game. You can read bios and stuff of all the characters, and there's like an exchange guy on there who you can trade items with and buy rare items and stuff, collectibles that obviously then appear in game. So yeah, this has obviously been a big one for lots of people. So in the week since Shenmue Passport went online, there were 200 new unique players who'd signed in to Dreamcast online via DreamPod to access, presumably to access Shenmue, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, that in such a short space of time, that's such a jump for the online community. And interestingly, he also pointed out in the same message that there are now over 7,000 unique players in the Dreamcast Now database, which is pretty significant. So yeah. Tom, are you a Shenmue passporter? Have you got all your high scores?
I am a Shenmue passporter, but with a caveat, and that caveat is that the last time I played Shenmue Passport, just out of pure curiosity, was way before this came back online. So I have messed around with it, but I haven't done it while it was been back online. So maybe I need to dig my passport out and get back
Get
involved.
travelling.
Yes, Lewis, you're our resident Shenmue enjoyer. Is this tempting you into the Dream Pie
Yeah,
world?
probably. Yeah, you know what? I love Shenmue, but I've not really ever messed around with Shenmue Passport. But I do love the fact that you could be the top. It says here that PC Wizard on this screenshot is the #1 Dart 7 player in the world. I wonder if that got beaten since. That would be interesting.
Probably. Well, you could be the forklift race champion now by comparing your scores with everyone else who's played the game. So
That must have been absolutely amazing. Like, if you were a big Shenmue fan back in the day, and just to be able to log on to this and just see what everyone else was doing, that would have been so fascinating.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very cool to see this. If you've never thought about getting your Dreamcast back online, because you're not much of an online gamer, but Shenmue is your jam. If you've got a Dream Pie, it connects straight away. And that's true of all the latest online releases as well now. So there's no messing about at all once you've set everything up. And yeah, would definitely recommend. And on that note, there have been 2 old games brought back online in the recent months as well. So we've seen 100 Swords Online was the first one, which was back in January. That game was a Japanese-only release. It's like a real-time strategy game. So it's not been translated yet. So hopefully Derek's working on that. So it can be a little cumbersome to get set up. You have to have your Google Translate on your phone ready to go. But yeah, that works online. I've not done much in the way of playing that yet, just because of the barriers to entry. But the second game that got brought back online is one that I've put a lot of time into. I think I've played over 100 matches now, which is Power Smash Tennis, otherwise known to us as Virtua Tennis, the original. I wrote a quick article about this when it came back online. Most of us didn't even realize Virtua Tennis had an online mode because it was only the Japanese version that did. But as you can probably imagine, there's no real language barriers with playing tennis online. So yeah, once you've kind of muscle memoried your way through the menus to get the connection menus to get online, you're up and running. But this game is probably the best, if not one of the best online games to play. Virtua Tennis is obviously a great game anyway.
How did it play, Jazz, when you played? Was it laggy or was it smooth?
No,
how was it? How was the experience?
Smooth as hell. There's obviously, this is true with a lot of the Dreamcast online stuff. There's obviously some sort of lying going on, if for lack of a better term, with the way that the game sort of renders or plays these games online, because I don't know how best to describe it, but there's obviously some movements happening that aren't directly from the inputs you're making, because otherwise it wouldn't be lagging. I mean, it's connecting by a 56k or 33k modem at the end of the day. But yeah, to actually play it is super smooth, and it actually feels really great. Like, it doesn't feel to me any different than playing the single player offline version. Wow. So yeah, it is absolutely phenomenal. And the Sega Online community on Discord, it's become a huge favorite amongst all of us on there. And like I said, we are playing it very frequently. As with most of these games, they're all connected via DreamcastLive.net for leaderboards and things like that as well. So if you go onto the Power Smash leaderboard, I played 97 game. The guy, I'm second on the leaderboard. The guy in first on the leaderboard has played 374 games. So yeah, there's obviously people who love it more than me.
You best up your game then, aren't you?
I know.
Up your game.
He's played 374 and won 366, lost 8.
Wow.
I've played 97 and won 81, lost 16. So yeah, but if you haven't yet jumped into the world of online Dreamcast gaming, there's never been a better time than now. As of the time of recording this, there are a total of 49 games available online now. Most of which are multiplayer, some of which will just be leaderboards and things, but most of which will be multiplayer. And yeah, there's still a few big hitters that are not online yet. So things like Bomberman Online, I know, is one of the big sort of requested games, and Sega Rally 2 as well, the Japanese version, still not online. But yeah, the team that works on reverse engineering these servers just seem to make significant progress every year.
I say I really need to get back onto this because I do have a Dream Pi, and I have played online in the distant past with yourself and Mike and PC Wizard. I'm pretty sure I remember having a race on Toy Racer with you guys at some point in the very distant past. But when you don't exercise that part of your brain, you kind of forget how to do these things, don't you? So I need to get back onto dreamcastlive.net, read the guides, get it all back hooked up, and I'll see you on the court.
For sure. And one thing I will say, I mean, I've been playing online again now for, it must be coming up to 8 or 9 years again now. And in the last sort of 12 months, it's very rare that you go on to the Dreamcast.online website, which is basically like Xbox Live for Dreamcast, because it shows who's online and what they're playing. It's very rare you go on there and don't see anybody online. There's normally at least 2 or 3 people on playing something, whether it's Phantasy Star Online or something else. So the community has never been busier. And as I said, if there's plenty of pickup games happening all the time, and it's just great to experience those titles as they were originally intended.
Just looking now, there's people online. There's people online right now on Dreamcast.online.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Not surprised. The other news in the world of online gaming is Propeller Arena, which was due to come out in 2001, but obviously never did because of the unfortunate events of 9/11, was basically a finished game and has been available to download and play for many years. There was an online mode available, and it is back online, and that'll be another great one to play. It's a great game, Propeller Arena. So I think that'll be another great one to have online.
It took me a second, but it blew my mind when it dawned on me how crazy this is. And I suppose the same was the case with DD Planet, which was that game that got leaked and then they put it back online. It's a game designed for the online play that never got released. And now it's finally being played online. Like, that's crazy that it's like that thing we talked about, that course correction of, this never got to be played online, and now, they're making it so it can be. And maybe Yu Suzuki will, have a, wherever he is, he'll smile as he hears about this.
There's another one like that as well. It's called Internet Game Pack. It was basically like America's version of presumably of a version of Planet Ring that was going to be like a kind of an amalgamation of online mini games to play, and it had things like chess and dominoes and drafts and things like that you could play online. And that's the same thing. Never got released, but got released. In 2019, I think it was. So there are games online now for every, no matter what you like playing, racing games, sports games, pool games, card games. There's everything. So definitely get involved in the online scene. We would love to see you there. Right, our final kind of mismatch of news then, which didn't fit into any other category. Quick roundup here of bits and pieces. So there is some new DLC out for Sonic Adventure, believe it or not. This one is for St. Patrick's Day. So you can get this by going onto DreamPipe or downloading the file and separately and sticking it onto like a VMU Pro or something like that. And presumably I've not seen this myself. It just adds some like Irish hats and stuff into the game, I'm guessing, or is there like a mission or something that I don't know about?
Yeah, a mission. I've not checked it out myself, but I just thought the idea that people are creating new DLC for Sonic Adventure was pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. There's a Kiss Psycho Circus enhanced mod. This adds adds back in some cut elements from the PC version, and obviously improves the frame rate over what actually came out of retail. So a nice little updated version of a game of dubious quality, shall we say? Other shooters are available, so yeah, check that out. And finally, we mentioned this a bit earlier on briefly, that Derek Pascarella, he has released a new version of Open Menu, which, for those who don't know, is a management piece of software for using with the GDEMU or GDEMU, however you prefer to say it. I mentioned this earlier on. It's my go-to bit of software now for doing this. It works on PC and Mac. It's super easy to use. Literally just dragging and dropping files of ISOs onto, or GDIs, sorry, into the menu. You can also update all the artwork, which is a really nice touch for those of us that like to have specific artwork on a game. It boots really quickly. I've had no issues at all with it, and Derek is... I mean, I'm helping him with some of the bug testing now as well, but he is releasing new versions. I think there's been about 3 new versions since we made these notes as well. So if you run a GDEMU, I would strongly recommend checking it out. I don't know what you're using at the moment, but yeah, I'm super impressed with this. Lewis, you've been using the Mac version as well, I believe.
Yeah, it's a really good bit of software. Like it has all different themes you can use, kind of ways of laying it out. So you can have it where you have like the large artwork on screen in a grid, or you can have it as a list, which is something I prefer just because like I just like to kind of quickly browse through it. It has, some of the themes are cool. There's like an orange American US theme, and then like a blue PAL theme, which is really cool. And there is a lot of stuff to do that with compatibility in regards to the VM2 VM, like modern VMU, where it basically creates a save onto it automatically. So the idea is that even if you boot up a game for the first time, you don't have to go through all the click here to create a save stuff. It just puts it on there automatically for you. Just stuff like that. It's just such an easy piece of software. And Derek's an absolute beast when it comes to working on these things. He's so funny. He'll say to me like, "Oh, there's this thing and I'm not sure how I'll solve it." And then I'll wake up to a message from him like, "Oh yeah, it took me like 5 hours, but I've fixed it." So
yeah, I have a similar experience with Derek, because I was testing it on Mac and I was like, "Derek, these images aren't working," and blah blah, because Derek he was doing all his dev on a PC, and he was like, "I don't understand why it's like unpacking the files in a certain way on the Mac and everything else." And it's similar sort of thing. He was like, "I don't know, I'm going to sort this out." And then within about 2 hours, I was added to a Discord where there was like a new version for me to test to see if it had fixed the issue.
Yeah.
So huge thank you to Derek. He does a lot of work for the Dreamcast community, and I hope this becomes the go-to software for GDEMU Dreamcast, because it is phenomenal. One other nice little touch about it is the if you use like Action Replay or Codebreaker, when you go to select your game from the list of games you've got on your SD card, if you just press the Y button or the X button, I think it is, you can mount the disc and load Codebreaker first, so it will automatically do that for you. You don't have to download Codebreaker or anything else separately. You put all your cheat codes in, and then it'll just launch the game as if the disc was in the console. So it's just a nice little, nice easy way of doing Action Replay stuff as well.
Another extra thing I learnt recently, but haven't tried out yet. Apparently, if you put PlayStation disc images on your SD card, it will boot them in Bleem.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I need to try that one.
Yeah, I'm going to try that for sure.
Obviously, to varied results, perhaps.
I was going to say, what's the compatibility like? Because the original Bleem disc doesn't run with a large proportion of the games, does it?
Yeah, I think people have sorted out the retail Bleem discs to boot without obviously having to put the PlayStation disc in.
Right. Interesting. That sounds really cool, what you've just described, both of you. I mean, I'm still rocking SD Card Maker for GDME version 1.10 by Mad Sheep.
Shout out to Mad Sheep.
It's a Mad Sheep, yeah. So I need to jump on this new Open Menu software from Derek, because, as you say, he is a Dreamcast coding royalty at this point, isn't he? So, I'll have a look at that.
Yeah, really good and definitely worth checking out. As usual, we'll put all the links to everything we've discussed, or Lewis will. I say we will. Lewis will put all the links to everything we've discussed in the show notes. So if you do want to follow up on everything, on anything we've discussed, you can do so. That leaves a little bit of time for us to do a quiz and test the knowledge of our co-hosts for today. We're going to revert back to the old 10 questions to try and guess the game I'm thinking of, boys.
Okay.
I think you know the rules, but a refresher for any new listeners. So the boys have got 10 questions to ask me about a particular game that I'm thinking about, and I can only answer yes or no to their questions. And then once they've asked 10 questions, they have to guess which game it is, and we either call them out as fools or we bow down at their Dreamcast knowledge. So over to you, boys.
Right. So the first question I guess we should ask is about the region that it's in. So shall I just go with the first question?
Was it released in all regions? Would we say?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah. Was it released in all regions, Jazz?
No.
Oh, right.
So now we need to pin down which region, or maybe perhaps.
What would we differentiate between PAL and NTSC initially?
Yeah.
I'm sensing pushback.
Well, I'm just worried about we'll know the genres and stuff. Like if we have enough questions. I'm slightly out of practice with this game.
So
Lewis gets really panicky with this game. It's like it's immediately just gets panicky.
Yeah.
No, well, I'm going to go for it. Is it an NTSC exclusive?
No.
So that means it's a PAL exclusive.
Or it could be an NTSC and PAL game.
No, but he said it wasn't released in all regions.
Yeah, but it could just be released in two regions and not Japan, if that makes sense.
Well, we might be all thinking it could.
Is this why you put the soothing music in the background of these
Yeah.
things? Because it's too stressful otherwise.
Okay. Maybe just start with genre then, and I suppose that could help us pin it down.
Yeah. Go on then. What do you think?
I feel like before we've done a thing where it's like, is it a, and then maybe listed 3 genres, and then I guess, so I don't know, like what are some popular genres? So we've got racing, fighting,
like shmups or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that's like not released in all regions. Because I feel like most of the fighting games in most regions, well, maybe not.
What about? Because there's some like really odd, like little outliers, like Stupid Invaders. Oh, but that was.
Yeah. Is it a, racing, fighting, or what's another kind of platformer or sports? Or I'm trying to think of like what the third one could be.
Yeah, sports is quite a broad one, isn't it?
Is racing a sport? I don't know if that is.
I mean, unless it's something like Formula 1, I wouldn't really class it as a sport, I don't think.
Yeah, because obviously I mean like football or basketball or something,
It depends how mean Jazz is going to be, doesn't it?
Well, let's go with that. So
then.
Jazz, is it a racing game, a sports game, or a fighting game?
No.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
Right.
what
So
we
it's
got
none
there?
of them.
RPGs,
Survival horror.
survival horror.
Could be a callback to the chat at the start of the show.
Yeah. Or like, we're talking about like poker, could be one of those gambling games, or pinball. Oh, there's so many different genres. Right. Right,
How many have we had now? Is that three? Three questions?
I think.
You've had 3 questions, yes.
Yeah.
We could go for developer or publisher. That could pin it down, because obviously something like Acclaim, they released a lot of different games. Or is it a Sega game or something? So
Just trying to think. So it's not a racer, it's not a fighter, and it's not a sports game.
Mm-hmm.
It was released in like a region, but not all regions, and it wasn't an NTSC exclusive. So, well, to my mind, that says it's a PAL game that's not one of those 3.
could we pin down a developer maybe? So should we say like was it developed by a Sega studio or something? Do you think that would?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, go for that.
Yeah. Jazz, was it developed by a Sega studio?
No.
Okay, so it could be like Capcom or something, or again, like we talked about Acclaim, or I'm trying to think what else could we do to pin it down.
I'm just going to ask, Jazz, is it a PAL exclusive?
No.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, come on, it's enough to be a rocket scientist. You asked me if it was released in all regions. I said no. And you asked me if it was a PAL exclusive, and I said no. So how many regions are there?
The main ones are obviously Japan, North America, Europe.
Right, so there's 3 regions, yeah? So it's
Yeah.
not released in all 3, but it's also not a PAL exclusive. So
Am I stupid?
I think so.
I'm really
Because you seem
confused
to
by
think
this.
there's no alternatives to it's either or everything or exclusive to one.
It's the cold, I
ChatGPT,
think.
help me.
Right. I'll give you like a clue because you're never going to get it at this rate. But it was released in Europe and America.
Right, thank you.
You know, there's not. You could have worked. An intelligent man could have worked that out.
But I'm not, and I'm never claimed to be.
I felt like you needed a bit of a hint.
Right, Europe and America. Which
Right.
games?
Right.
Soul Reaver. That didn't come out in Japan, did it? Or Tomb Raider did.
It's going to be Army Men again, I bet, isn't it?
Who was Soul Reaver's publisher? Was it Eidos?
Yes. Crystal Down. No, yeah, it was Eidos, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was in PAL at least, wasn't it? Was it published in PAL regions by Eidos?
No.
Oh fuck! Went all in on Soul Reaver. Oh dear. I'm trying to think of games that were released in PAL and US, but not Japan.
And
It wouldn't be left.
it wouldn't be Urban Chaos then either, would it? Because that was also published by Eidos, wasn't it?
That was released in Japan as well, wasn't it? Why am I helping you? Shut
I
up.
don't know. Shut up.
Shadow Man, was that not released in Japan?
That was a claim, wasn't it?
Could do was it published by Acclaim or I don't know.
Yeah, go for that. Yeah,
Hold
because
on,
the Acclaim released loads of stuff on the Dreamcast, didn't they? But again, questionable quality.
Yeah, was it published by Acclaim in any region?
No.
Ugh.
That rules out Army Men as well, then, doesn't it? I think because I think that was Acclaim, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll give you another freebie. It's not Army Men.
What if it's something like Caesar's Palace or something like crazy like that? Like, how are we going to pin that down? How many questions have we got left, Jazz?
It's 3.
You
isn't
have 3 questions
Okay.
left.
We
and
could
then, I guess.
perhaps go for another genre question.
it? Yeah.
Like, is it, I don't know, a platformer? What else? An RPG or a gambling game?
It could be something like it could be something like Caesar's Palace 2000 because of the connection to the game we talked about earlier on. You know, the poker game.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
sensing
way
there's some-
overthinking this. It's so
I'm
funny.
sensing there's a thread here. There's a golden thread running through this episode.
I'm gonna do a mic and say I bet it's
Go on.
Spirit of Speed. Okay, was it either a platformer, an RPG, or a gambling simulator?
It was not.
Ugh, what other genres are there? We've gone on sports racing, RPG, gambling, platformer. Well, I think I
Did
just
we
asked
say-
platformer. I think.
You did.
Yeah. What other genres are there?
FPS. First
Oh
person
yeah,
shooter.
yes. Was Soldier of Fortune released?
That was a PAL exclusive, wasn't it? I think.
Oh no, it came out in US. I think most of those like American-y shooters didn't come out in Japan.
That's a good shout, actually, Soldier of Fortune. I don't know what I'm basing that on.
Well, that means we've got 2 questions left, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then we
Correct.
get one to actually guess. Yeah.
Correct.
Is it a first-person? Sorry, let me read. Is it a shooter of some kind?
Yes.
Yeah. And when I say shooter, I mean like one with pew pew guns, not like one where you're in space or something.
Oh, hang on. When you say a pew pew gun, what do you mean by a pew pew gun?
I don't know, like a third or first-person shooter is what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I presume that's what you thought I meant. So technically, I didn't do a second question.
No, that's fine.
Right. Tom,
One question left, boys.
Okay, you got Soldier of Fortune.
We got Soldier of Fortune. We got Quake 3 Arena.
Spec Ops.
Unreal Tournament. Outrigger.
Outrigger came out in Japan.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So Unreal
Soldier
Tournament.
of Fortune.
Soldier of Fortune.
Rogue Spear.
Yeah, the original Rainbow Six as well.
I presume it's a game that got released in retail, because Half-Life could also be an option, but I don't.
Every game that I choose for this is a retail release.
Okay,
yes.
cool. So,
So this is our last question, isn't it?
It is.
does it go online? That could pin it down a little bit. But then if it doesn't go online, it's like, well, which fucking game is it?
Yeah, it's just a crapshoot then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we're screwed either way, to be honest, so it doesn't really matter what
Maybe
we say.
does
or
it
do
go
from this
online
point.
in at all in any of the 2 regions? Yeah, that's my question, Jazz.
No.
Right. So we have Rainbow Six, Rogue Spear, Soldier of Fortune, Spec Ops, whatever it's called,
Amiga Squad.
Amiga Squad. So it wouldn't be Quake or Unreal Tournament. Could be Kiss Psycho Circus as well.
It could be.
So you got them 4 probably, I'd say.
Should we go for Kiss Psycho Circus, considering it's got a link to the rest of the episode? I don't know why I'm so hung up on the fact that it might have a link to the rest of the episode. I mean, we're just guessing whichever one we go for, aren't we?
Right, just to summarise what you know about the game,
go on,
right?
go on.
Yeah,
Because there's not an awful lot, to be honest, to go through these clues. So, you know that it was released in America and Europe, because I told you.
Yes.
You know that it is a first or third perspective shooter, and
Yes.
that's all you know.
Yes.
Dear.
It's alright, we got this in the bag. It's Kiss Psycho Circus.
I don't think it'll be one that we've mentioned on the pod.
What's he not? What have we got on there that he's not mentioned?
We've got Rainbow Six, Rogue Spear.
But there's also the original Rainbow Six as well, isn't there? With the
Did
evil
that come
missions.
out in Europe?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh shit! So you got 2 Rainbow Six games:
Soldier of
Kiss
Fortune.
Psycho Circus and Soldier of Fortune and Spec Ops.
Ooh. Right, it's a
And
guess.
it's literally
isn't it?
just a guess. Yeah, just
Go on,
pick
I'll let you
one.
guess. I'm gonna let you guess. Go on.
Jazz, is the game drum roll Soldier of Fortune?
It is not. You're going to kick yourself, boys. Developed in 1999 by the 3DO company. It's Army Men. Sarge is no started.
Gate.
No, released in Europe and North America in the year 2000. Developed by Argonaut Games.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
bloody
it's Red Dog, innit?
It is Red Dog Superior Firepower.
Oh,
Nowhere
yeah,
near it.
That well threw me off. That with the sort of vehicular combat.
When you were
aspects.
trying to narrow it down with genres, I was like, please don't, because that's the worst thing you could be doing. Because I don't even know. Shooter is the only thing I can give it.
Oh God!
Unlucky
the only thing I
boys.
remember about Red Dog is the way that you strafe. It's horrific. Don't like the strafing in Red Dog.
I quite enjoyed it. I think it's a shame that the controls let it down, but it was actually a really cool, unique little game.
Great visuals and great physics. Yeah,
definitely.
In fact, it's got physics in it, which is more than it can be said for a game that you like on the Switch too. Donkey Kong Bonanza, which has no physics.
You're the
whatsoever.
only person in the world that hates Donkey Kong Bonanza. Go back to your slop. Anyway, It's
we'll get
been
him next time, boys. Yeah.
It's been a wonderful podcast, despite the shocking performance on the Guess the Game again. A few quick social plugs to make for the Dreamcast Junkyard. So we are on most social media platforms, the DC Junkyard. I'm sure you can find us on Facebook as well, and please do check out our Discord. We have quite a good, vibrant community going on in there. And a huge thank you to all our Patreon members. Your kind donations keep the Dreamcast Junkyard up and running on a regular basis. So yes, we salute each and every one of you. If you are not a Patreon of ours at the moment, we do recommend you sign up on the Patreon website, even at the free tier. Because it's a great way of getting the alerts from the Dreamcast Junkyard blog, and with the amount of news that goes on, it's always nice to have that delivered to your inbox or feeds, or however you prefer to set that up. So please do check that out. The thing that we all gravitate around, the dreamcastjunkyard.co.uk, which has been around for how many years now?
20.
That was the segue into all the nice merch and everything that we've got, which you can check out as well, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Dreamcast Junkyard, set up by Tom in his pants in his room back in 2006.
That's not even like far from the truth. That is actually literally what happened.
Right, I will leave you all with that image of Tom in his pants until next time. Thank you, chaps. Thank you, everyone. It's been emotional. See you next time.
Bye.
This is the Dreamcast disc. 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 Disc, and is for use only on a Dreamcast unit. Playing this disc on a hi-fi or other audio equipment can cause serious damage to its speakers. Please stop this disc now.